Hi, all. It's Emily with ESPN ESPORTS, and I'm happy to be joined by Methodz after Toronto's win this past weekend. So, first of all, just congratulations, man. How does it finally feel to get one on the board?
Thank you. It's relieving. It was very stressful. Obviously, there's only 12 teams in the league, only 60 players. It's always in the back of your mind like someone's coming for your spot. You want to win, you want to play the best you can, and falling short for the majority of the year was pretty stressful, pretty frustrating. Um, and I think that frustration was sort of why we won. Just we were so fed up with coming up short and constantly just getting to semifinals and losing or not even getting there. So
I
worked
mean, that's a
hard,
good,
and
yeah,
I'm
it's a good
happy.
motivator.
Yeah.
Take me through that round 11 because obviously, like, you were the star of that, but like, I had no idea what way it was going to go, and that
Yeah.
was pretty insane.
Yeah, so Ben thought he was Jason Bourne. He hit up middle of the map 5-5 versus FaZe Clan, died immediately. Watching that back, we were dying laughing. Celium wide peeked me. That was a pretty poor play on his end. He pretty much just gave me a free pick to open up the map. We, ended up going to the A site, executing. Sim started shooting at my teammate, I killed him. Round goes on, it ends up in me in a 1v2, and I sort of just immediately challenged the last guy. I didn't wanna give him a chance to think or know what was going on, and, that was special for me, especially because I've had a few stinkers when it comes to 1v1s in my past, some pretty notorious chokes, and for that to be me and prove that, "Alright, I'm not this choke artist," was really big for me, and Twitter got super gassed up. Like I was getting
Mhm.
flooded with tweets from people who aren't even in the community anymore. It was so special. When I first came to Toronto, I said I wanna bring championships here, and I'm glad we can start off with this one. So going into champs, um hopefully we'll peak there. Like hopefully this wasn't our peak. Hopefully our peak's at the big one.
And I know you've talked about this on the past, like on podcast and in other interviews, but you said you really wanted to go to a big city like Toronto. And then you get there and there's this whole 10-man roster set up, which actually like eventually ends up working in your favor. But I
Yeah.
guess talk me through like the evolution of the team and the roster over the course of the year.
Yeah, it was different. I mean, a lot of rosters and I mean, pros and cons to everything. I think one of the cons to the 10-man roster was constantly switching up rosters.
Hmm.
It was hard to sort of find our footing and like just mesh together when we needed to. And at the same time, if we didn't have the 10-man roster, we wouldn't even have our current roster that just won a tournament. Like I think all four players besides me on the starting lineup right now weren't starters at the beginning. So it was incredible for that, you know what I mean? But like I said, pros and cons, definitely a learning experience for me because this is the first time I've ever been involved with something like that. It's definitely humbled me personally because there's no room for complacency. There's just constantly a fire lit under you where it's like you need to perform, you need to do well, you need to prove why you need to be here.
Yeah, I think one of the things that strikes me about Toronto's roster, and again, I know you've spoken about this previously, but like you're a main R, you're coming from Black Ops 4 into this game, which is suddenly like super submachine gun heavy, right?
Yeah.
And so you guys immediately have to make adjustments. Like, what has it been like to be a main AR in Modern Warfare, just generally?
Yeah, I mean, luckily as the game went on, it's kind of developed into a more AR heavy game just because now we're
Mhm.
playing on 60 hertz. And so like the game's obviously evolved. Different time periods within the game definitely change how the game is played. I would say currently, you know what I mean? I think I finally figured out how I need to play around my team. I think for a while I was putting a lot of pressure on myself just because I know the type of player I am and what I can do when I'm
Mhm.
really hot. And the issue is when you think like that, you overthink the game and you just try doing too much and it ends up hurting your team way more than it helps. So you know, I think I finally hit my form or I'm hitting my form at the end of the year, which I mean, hey, better late than never.
Yeah, so you guys went from 10th to 7th, which was one of the largest jumps that could be made by any team. How important was it to like get out of that very bottom tier going into champs?
It was it was so important. I mean, we're going into the biggest tournament in Call of Duty history. It's online. Mm. At the time, we're sitting there thinking most likely we're gonna be bottom 4. Like, we're only gonna have 1 shot at this tournament. You lose once, you're out. Now we win the tournament, which is crazy because we didn't win any tournament before this, and now we won what I would say was probably the hardest tournament of the year. Pretty much every single top team attending, and, our own home series just took it home, but to get out of that initial, bottom 4 was just, the amount of relief you feel before the finals because we knew, when Optic lost in semifinals that we made the top 8 slot. It just
Mhm,
relieved so much pressure. It just allowed us to play, I think, a lot more, what's what I'm looking for, a lot more freely in the finals.
mhm.
Like, there was no pressure at all. It was just everybody. There were some highlight reel moments. There was just it was just a fun finals. It wasn't stressful. If we weren't guaranteed at that point, I I have to assume it'd be a little more tense, a little more stressful, but luckily, we made it out of the gauntlet.
So going into champs, I do have to touch upon the mini map bug that's going on right now. What is going to happen with that? Like, how do you? I know like you guys GA stuff all the time for better for worse. That's obviously been an argument all year. But like, what do you do in this kind of situation?
I think when it comes to this certain glitch, we really need the developer to hopefully bring a fix in before champs or have the CDL enforce something that sort of just gets it out. There's no room for a bug like this, especially for the biggest tournament of the year. So hopefully there's a solution that can be found, and if not, we'll have to see.
And then going into champs, yes, it's online, obviously. Yes, there have been a ton of like developer communication issues across the board. But as you said previously, like this is still really big monetarily. How do you guys treat this tournament going in, like despite the fact that it's online? Like how serious, not how serious, because I know you guys are taking it seriously, but like what's your mindset going into this?
Our mindset is that we're horrible. In a couple interviews, I made it clear that we need to practice like we didn't just win because
Hmm.
we can't stay on a high horse. We can't think we're better than anybody. That is how we walk into that tournament and lose. So we need to bring the same intensity, outwork other teams because obviously there's some teams who aren't as motivated as us right now. There are teams who are like, oh, it's online. Who cares? Blah blah blah. But this is the biggest Call of Duty tournament of the world, online or in in like a tournament in person. This
Mhm.
is your job, and we need to do whatever we possibly can to get the win. As you said, a lot of prize money up for grabs, so that'll be an extra. But I'm looking for the bragging rights. I wanna win the first season of the league.
Nice. Well, all the best to you.
Thank you.
Like good luck to you and your team. I think you guys looked great this weekend, and it was finally good to see you come up from. I know people have been saying you're doing a lot better in scrims. We saw peaks of it through at other tournaments, and you guys finally came through. So congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And for more Call of Duty League coverage, keep it here on ESPN Esports.